This channel is supported by Truefire. Truefire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. I'm not sure whether I will end up running with this title, but I wanted to call this video the pedal that ruined jazz guitar, but I feel like it's a little bit of a contentious one. Changed jazz guitar definitely would be a fair way to put this. And I'll explain, I guess, first of all, why it is that I feel like this has changed things in a way that it's maybe not super positive. I'm going to subject myself to the risk that I become addicted to this pedal like real jazz guitarists have done. And you let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is the POG 2. The original POG came out in 2005. What they say it can do: simultaneously generate multiple octaves from your input signal. Whether you play single notes, arpeggios, or full chords, the POG 2 will perfectly track every note you play. You can mix together the original dry signal with 4 octaves, 1 octave above the original, 2 octaves above the original note, 1 octave below the original note, and 2 octaves below the original note. Additionally, you can detune the 2 upper octaves, slow the attack on all voices, including the dry signal, and process the overall tone through a low-pass resonant filter with adjustable filter cutoff and selectable cue. Now, I think it's the attack which is the real key part of this. And this is the part which upsets me slightly, because I've seen, maybe I shouldn't name any names, but my favourite jazz guitarist twice in the last sort of 2-3 years. And the POG has been an integral part of this guy's sound. And it's kind of frustrating to me because it masks what can be so great about some jazz guitar players' sound. So I'm going to try it for myself, but that is essentially what frustrates me about it, is that one of my favourite guitarists in the world, who I think has some of the best sort of touch in the jazz world and the best alternate picking in the jazz world, chooses to use the POG 2 and actually shave off kind of one of the key things which makes his playing so unique. And I don't want to name the name just as I don't want it to be, but there are a few New York jazz guys that use this thing, and I think even Robin Ford has started to experiment with it. So let's dig into the POG 2. thing about this pedal is I can imagine this being totally addictive already. So I'm going to bypass it. Here's my clean tone. It's an interesting clean tone you got going on there, but a dodgy switch. Yeah, so this has a dodgy switch, but what the POG does... So, a few things. First of all, you've got this kind of pitch element to it, so let's just... 2 octaves. 1 octave. This is dangerous. I can already see why people love this. So now that blended in with my dry. Sort of smoothing the top off there. Okay, and this is the thing that people I've noticed using the POG 2.4. So we can just use it. So it shaves off the front of the note. And gives it that kind of fluty vibe, which I think Kurt Rosenwinkel might have been the first. I can see why it annoys me when other people are playing it, because it gives like a fluty overtone to the thing. But at the same time, it is definitely a cool effect. But, you know, you could then start to bring in your octave. I like how easy to use it is as well. Just imagine if you're me and you've got someone who's playing you absolutely adore like every aspect of, and then they put this on. Or am I just being grumpy? But it does change the overall. It like gives a swell. To everything that makes it feel a little bit unnatural. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I can see why people get addicted to it though. I feel like I should say, in defense of the POG, this is such a unique musical to the player effect. Do you know what I mean? Where there's been synth pedals and stuff like that I've played that just don't really feel like you want to play them. This is really quite addictive, and it also just seems to solve some problems. You know, like if you imagine you'd got on a plane and you turn up to your gig, you're a bit jet lagged or whatever, and for whatever reason the synchronization with your hands is not happening as much. I can totally see why this would become a safety blanket type thing. But the thing is, for me as an audience member who's traveled sort of like 4 hours to see someone play, who I totally love, like their feel, their touch, their tone, once you engage this in the way that these players are using it, it shaves off what makes their playing unique, which is like that initial transient of the note, and what follows after that is kind of like a generic-y kind of sound. And so the original guy using this, I think, was Kurt Rosenwinkel. I think that has become his signature sound. It's just when you hear other people doing it as well, for me, it's just one of those things that I'd rather they turned it off. And I'd love to hear you guys, whether you've got players that use these that you think use it in a really musical way. But yeah, my thought that I had was that, is there any sort of piece of like iconic guitar music that you would want to hear a POG used on, or you think would be improved by using a POG? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But I think as a textural device, and as a like, maybe there should be a POG curfew, like, or like a POG limit, where these things sort of disappear off of the pedal board after you've used them for one solo. That to me would be acceptable. I think, where it's like, okay, right, you've done your tune, you're going to do something that sounds kind of organish, or that's going to shave off your notes and it's going to enable these incredible guitar acrobatics, even like maybe like elevated a certain percentage above what it would sound like if you didn't have the POG 2. Which is the thing for me, where these players sound incredible without this anyway. So it's kind of like, well, I just want to hear your lines, man. Anyway, so that's the POG 2 for me. For me, it's ruined a couple of jazz gigs where I just think, this would sound better when you got that turned off, bro. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I did put up an Instagram poll, and I'm definitely in the minority here, where I think like 90% of people love the sound of the POG, or love the POG, and then 10% kind of said, nah, not for me. But yeah, honestly, if you do ever get the chance to try one, it is quite a incredible thing. And I think maybe an ideal arsenal, if you're playing in like a trio setting and you want something different, to inject something new into the sound, or another thing I've seen people use it for is like, if you've got a horn line, like in say Superstition, jump it up an octave with this as well, and it kind of does fill out the sound in a really interesting way for that. I think there's also like ambient bands and sort of more progressive bands using them. Like the POG is iconic, it's just I don't want to hear it used in this context necessarily unless it's by Kurt Rosenwinkel, and even then I'd like Kurt Rosenwinkel to turn it off so we can hear like Kurt Rosenwinkel's amazing touch as well. Do you know what I mean?